Dublin was an epicenter of global whiskey production. There used to be, 30 to 40 distilleries. The problem was no one had built a distillery in Dublin in 125 years.
And so it's a great honor to be able to go back to the Liberties and to be the first new distillery in 125 years. When we won the world's best single malt, the winning whiskey was already there. We'd already done the work. It was about, it being the right time for Irish whiskey to win that award.
So 1782, Walter Teeling opened a distillery in Dublin. In the 1800s, the early 1800s, the whiskey industry in Dublin really exploded. Dublin whiskey outsold Scotch at one point in history. Whiskies used to come from Dublin, and then all of a sudden, no whiskey came from Dublin for almost 50 years. 1976, the last distillery in Dublin closed its doors, so the romance of returning to Dublin distilling was super high on the list of priorities for Jack and Stephen Teeling. The establishment of the Teeling whiskey brand, reborn in 2012 with the first new distillery in Dublin in 125 years.
In the beginning, the Teelings had casks that they had acquired over the years, and that was the stock that we started out with. But we quickly moved through those. Part of my job was to develop the whiskeys using the existing stock, but also to develop the distillery and the warehousing to be able to allow us to move forward into the future.
The phoenix rising from the ashes. It represents not only the rebirth of the Irish whiskey category, but the Teeling family returning to a place of prominence in the growth of Irish whiskey. It showcases the productional process of whiskey, the alcoholic vapors rising to form the flames of the phoenix. Rather than just a shape that represents a brand, it is an icon that tells a story.
As you might have guessed from my accent, I'm not Irish. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, and I started out in the craft beer industry. I am the first employee of the Teeling Whiskey Company. In the beginning, it was just Jack Teeling and myself. The world was our oyster, but we had to develop everything from the very beginning.
Early days in my Dublin journey, where I was a friend of the brand and didn't necessarily work for the brand yet. One lad, Mick Reddy, would visit the bars with a bottle of Teeling in his backpack, and he'd come in and pull the bottle out of the bag and try this. Affable as Mick was or is, it was the liquid that made us stand up and take notice. To today, where we're in 80 countries, teams of brand ambassadors spreading the good word of Teeling whiskey. So yeah, it's nice to take a second to look back and see where we've come from in comparatively such a short period of time.
So that at the heart of it is what Teeling whiskey is doing. Is we're trying to drive innovation around flavor, new expressions in Irish whiskey, quality of doing something different, quality of taking chances, pushing the boundaries. And I think that that's key to the Teeling Whiskey Company. Yeah, lovely golden color. Cheers.
It's creamier.
Yeah, it's a lovely whiskey. Would you bottle that?
I think we add a little bit of water.
People ask me if our warehouse are temperature controlled, and I say, well, yeah, they are temperature controlled by the Gulf Stream, and it gives Ireland mild winters and mild summers too. Ireland's in a Goldilocks zone for creating amazing whiskey. So we have over 300 different cask types. What happens in the cask is nothing short of magic. You put in lively fruity, fiery spirit. And over those years, it completely transforms into something like honey, nectar. We source our casks in a variety of different ways. Some of them we buy from cooperages. We also talk to producers, kind of like that wine you're making, or kind of like that beer you're making. Can we buy some casks from you, or can we swap some casks? You have some logic as to like what you're going to do, and then you fill it into the cask, and to be honest, all logic goes out the window. It really becomes a matter of listening to what's going on during maturation. In general, you're going to get more floral, fruity notes from your wine casks, sweet, earthy tones from your virgin wood. But for every rule, there's exceptions. Whiskey casks don't come with instructions. So you might think, oh, this red wine is going to give me cherries and plums, but whiskey doesn't know about us. Whiskey doesn't care about us. Whiskey's gonna do whatever the whiskey's gonna do. And it's my job to try to remove my hopes, my wants, my dreams, my aspirations from that, and to listen to what the whiskey is doing. Our process starts with malted barley, essentially just a seed. As we put it into the mill, our wet mill is in 3 sections. We have a hopper, steeping chamber where water is added, and then we have the crushing rollers down below where the water and the grain are crushed. They then become known as something called mash. Brewers and distillers, we're special people. We don't use words that everybody else can understand. If you did that, then everybody could make whiskey, right? Our milled barley and our hot water mix in here. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to extract as much sugar as we can from our malted barley. So here we have our wooden washbacks. They're known as Oregon pine. And as a proud Oregonian, we had to have Oregon pine someplace 28 degrees Celsius for about 3 or 4 days. And that's gonna give us our wash at 8% alcohol. And here we have our 3 stills. In Ireland, there is a tradition of naming the stills after women, and our founder, Jack Teeling, has 3 daughters. Wash still, named after Jack Teeling's first daughter, Allison. Middle still, named after his second daughter, Natalie. And then we have our spirit still, named after his 3rd daughter, Rebecca. The wash still is heating up. We have steam heating the bottom of it. Alcohol rises at a lower temperature than water, and the alcohol vapor travels up the neck of the still and over to the condenser, the long narrow part here. The cold water is going through that, and that hot vapor is condensing back down to a liquid. We go from 8% alcohol up to about 24% alcohol. Middle still, and we're gonna go from about 24% alcohol up to about 60% alcohol. And in the spirit still, that alcohol vapor is getting stronger and stronger as it goes over, and it comes off at about 84% alcohol. We've removed the yeast that was in the fermentation, and we've taken all of that floral fruitiness and we've concentrated it in the spirit. And that's what gives Irish whiskey its light, sweet, approachable nose. There's no secrets in the making of Teeling whiskey. The secret is it's a lot of hard work. What you see on the tour is all of the steps and everything that goes into the making of Teeling whiskey. There's some of the finesse that might be a bit unique as to like what temperature or flow rate, but the big secret is there's no secret. There's just a lot of hard work.
Welcome to the Bang Bar at Teeling Whiskey Distillery. I'm going to make you a Dublin coffee. So it's a twist on an Irish coffee. Obviously one of the most famous Irish whiskey cocktails is an Irish coffee. It is by far and away our best-selling cocktail, so we wanted to make a Dublin version of it. Teeling whiskey is the spirit of Dublin. The Dublin coffee is a Dublin version of an Irish coffee. What we wanted to do, introduce elements that speak to that, speak to the Dublin of the Dublin coffee. So first and foremost, we need a Dublin whiskey. So Teeling small batch, a rum finish blended Irish whiskey. So next would be your sweetener, your sugar. We don't want to use a sugar cube. because then we're stirring forever to make sure that the sugar is incorporated. So we use a sugar syrup, a Dublin stout, so stout beer. We reduce that down and then add our sugar as well as some spices like cardamom, a little bit of orange peel, some star anise to give us our sweetener. So this is a filter coffee from a Dublin roastery called Cloud Picker. They supply the coffee to our cafe downstairs, espressos and cappuccinos and whatnot. This is a filter coffee, so it's a little bit different. Blend they use for the filter coffee is specifically for the Irish coffee. It is a bit of a softer, so it works well in partnership with the whiskey to make a great cocktail. So now we stir and we add our Irish cream. We used to try to be a bit clever and add like orange zest and a little bit of flavoring vanilla to our cream, but Irish has fantastic dairy. We just want to focus on that. So we layer our dairy on top of the cocktail, and we want that cream to act as a filter for the hot beverage. But we need one last thing. We need an aroma that welcomes you in as you bring this up to take a sip, and that's freshly ground nutmeg. We'll add a lovely aroma and texture to our Dublin coffee. Next cocktail, one of my favorite cocktails. It's an old-fashioned. It's a classic. It's a whiskey drinker's cocktail. Most whiskey brands have a twist on an old-fashioned. We are no different. We're in Newmarket Square, so this is the Newmarket old-fashioned. So Teeling Small Batch, being a rum-finished Irish whiskey, has an inherent fruitiness to it, but also from those rum casks, the wood spices tend to be a little bit more dark. So with the sweetener of this one, we use allspice liqueur and honey. Our Teeling Small Batch, nice healthy 2 ounces of Teeling Small Batch. We have our sweetener, and then Angostura bitters. So we give that a stir. Now, as a man, as an older man, I love my whiskey, but there was a time I didn't like whiskey. I liked vodka, I liked tequila. But someone made me an old-fashioned, which is inherently just whiskey that's been sweetened and watered down. It was this cocktail that made me fall in love with whiskey. As an introductory to whiskey, I think it's fantastic. And then your aroma, your effervescence from the peel of an orange.
Teeling Whiskey Company has been very fortunate to win a wide range of awards, but one that we're very proud of is winning the world's best single malt. 24-year-old single malt that's been matured in Sauterne casks, an explosion of floral fruitiness, and then there's a little bit of peat that's there, and a long minerality on the finish that comes from that Sauterne cask. Our flagship whiskey is a blended Irish whiskey. We make small batch by triple distilling grain whiskey and single malt, and then we blend that together and we go back into a rum cask for another 12 months. Bottling strength is at 46% alcohol, and it's non-chill filtered, so that means that we've left the flavor in the whiskey. On the nose, it has this lovely rum raisin, and then on the taste, there's a lovely vanilla honey sweetness and a little bit of spice that comes through. Our Phoenix Legends Marsala cask is a 16-year-old single malt, so 100% malted barley that's been triple distilled and aged in Marsala casks. First maturation was in bourbon, and it's been in the Marsala cask for 3 years. Popcorn, like kettle corn kind of flavor. There's this caramel, toffee, a little bit of saltiness, and then there's a real light freshness like you would get from popcorn. Our Wonders of Wood series is all 100% pot still whiskey. This is the 4th in our series. The tastiness for the Carpathian is quite unusual. It is a very full flavored, but the spice and the floral fruitiness from the pot still really comes through too. I think Teeling whiskey is for people who like Irish whiskey and are looking for something different. I think it's for people that are aware of the light, sweet, approachable nature and are looking for an adventure.
I think I would like people to realize just how innovative as a brand we are. Different mash bills and doing double distilled and triple distilled whiskies and working with up to 300 different types of casks. We do create some fantastic whiskies, but I think it's fair to say that you might not respond perfectly to every Teeling whiskey that we release. But within that, it's about that discovery of your whiskey journey.
I'd like to think that our best whiskey is still to come.
We're going to try and increase our platform globally, keep doing what we're doing, keep releasing some of the world's best Irish whiskies, but try and reach more people.
Am I a master? I don't know. I would say the only thing that makes me a master is maybe my ability to remove myself from the equation. Are there other people that could do it better? Probably. I like being on that journey of continuous improvement. Because at the end of the day, I'm a fan of whiskey just as much as everyone else. And I just have the ability to do some of that myself. I think in order to be in the whiskey industry, you have to be an optimist. You have to believe that it's going to be better in the future.